Hi everybody, welcome to Beyond the Lines. My name is Sarah, I'm the artist behind Pinselgeschichten, and today I'm starting another page in the Outlander coloring book. This one here. And I started base coating a few things with neo colors, and then went on. Speaking clearly is difficult. And then went on with Prismacolors to fill in all the rest. So I just decided to base coat a few things with watercolors, and I'm going to talk to you about in the video why that is. And then I went on to colored pencils, and I'm going to do so for the remainder of the videos, plus a few gel pens probably in the end. Here and there. I'm just forecasting. I see that coming. I do have a vision back in my mind. Yeah, I'm goofy today. So I hope you enjoy, and I'm gonna see you next week. Good morning. Time for a new page. The text for this one is a little longer. It says, reading through a few of the recipes, the reason for the late Davy Beaton's lack of success with his patients became apparent. For a headache, read one entry, take ye 1 ball of horse dung. This to be carefully dried, pounded to powder, and the whole drunk stirred into hot ale. For convulsions in children, 5 leeches to be applied behind the ear. And a few pages later, decoctions made of the root of celandine, turmeric, and juice of 200 slaters cannot but be of great service in a case of jaundice. I closed the book, marveling at the large number of the late doctor's patients who, according to his meticulous log, had not only survived the treatment meted out to them but actually recovered from their original ailments. So this is the surgeon's dungeon in the Castle Lear. And this one here has, well, all the little bottles and such. I actually do like the cupboard a lot. I would have loved that for maybe my art supplies or something. But well, talking about art supplies, I'm going to start with Caran d'Ache Neo Color 2. The main work of this page, I want to work with Prismacolors color pencils because these are very tiny little bits and pieces here, and I don't want to go with water-soluble stuff on them, but these beams here and the cupboards down here, this box here, and I think those fronts of the shelves, I do want to work with neo colors underneath before I go on top with colored pencils as well. So it's time to choose colors. I want to use browns. So I'm taking the second palette here. Just to have to choose which ones I actually like to use. I definitely want the raw sienna for this box here. It just says, use me, so I'm gonna do so. This is also sometimes how I choose colors. It's just what speaks to me, and this is, yeah, I know it sounds a little gaga, but you know, what can you do, right? Once in a while, you just gotta listen to what I think is intuition. So I'm just going to very quickly give this a layer of the raw sienna. And you can see on these bigger objects here on the page, you can really work quickly, get some color down, and get rid of a bit of white on your page. Now the next thing I want to do is work on these labels here, and I think them to be paper, not metal. So I'm taking the golden ochre, which is a very lovely color. Putting that down. And I'm just gonna turn my page at a slight angle because it's a little more comfortable for me to color this way. And I'm just going to give him a solid layer of this golden ochre color. I really like that color. Used it quite a bit already. There's some of the crayons I only used when I prepared my color swatches, but some of them have gotten a lot of use already. I think when you work with any kind of colors, so when you're an artist, when you're coloring, when you're painting, drawing, whatever it is, I think you tend to have favorite colors or colors you reach for again and again and again. And then there's some that you maybe don't use as often. I think that's kind of normal. And I seem to tend towards warmer colors. So any kind of color that has a yellowish hue to them. So when it comes to really cold shades, so bluish tint, I use that quite a bit in reds. I do like the cold reds way more than the warm reds. But for yellows, oranges, greens, grays, blues, I do prefer the warmer colors. So anything with a yellow tint in it is something that I use way more often. I wonder if you recognize that, if you do the same thing too, or if you just go all over the color spectrum and use any kind of color and hue, or if you prefer some colors. Just thinking for the cupboards and the beams and the front of the shelf, I want to use the same color because I think they're made out of exactly the same wood. Now the question is, which one do I want? I'm thinking I don't want to go too dark because I want to put colored pencils on top. So I'm either thinking the brown or the Toledo brown. And I think I like this one a little more. It has a reddish tint to it, which I very much like in furniture. So why not use that color? So I'm gonna be needing quite a bit. Yeah, I was just checking if the palette is actually on my screen, if it's in frame, and it is. So, whoops. I'm going top to bottom. Just picking up pigment and painting it in. I was first thinking about also giving the back of the cupboard a watercolor layer, but going around all of these tiny bits and pieces here, I'm not all that sure if I'm capable of controlling my hands well enough today. This video is going to be published after my pumpkin still life video. So I painted that 2 days ago and my hands are still kind of shaky, meaning it takes a lot of mental energy to keep it as calm as possible when it comes to painting or drawing. And I fear that I won't be able to control my hands well, especially around these plants here. So I'm opting for colored pencils for that part. Would I have a really, really awesome day with my hands? I would have definitely gone for a watercolor layer underneath for the whole cupboard, but oh well, that's not gonna happen today. On the one hand, that annoys me because I'm not doing what I actually would prefer to do for this page. On the other hand, it puts me a little bit out of my comfort zone, and it makes me reach for other possibilities to achieve what I want to have achieved in the end. It's just a different path, you know. I still can use the same colors that I would have used with the watercolor underneath the colored pencil for the wooden part of the cupboard. Concentrating. Oh gosh, you can see I went beyond the lines there. So I just, have to adjust the way I work, which again, once in a while, it's really good for me to step out of my usual process and my, usual preferences and just work with what I can do. I think it maybe broadens your skill set or just the way you work. It does concentrate. It does it does make you try new things or try different things. And I think that's, for one, something that helps with getting you out of a rut, or maybe when it comes to the process, sometimes the work steps are a little boring for you, so you can step out of that by just being, a little limited with what you can do that day. It's not the worst thing, so I'm not complaining here. I'm just saying what I would have usually done, what I would have preferred to do, and what I am able to do today, and how I adjust my work process accordingly. So now onto the beams. I'm just gonna give them a solid layer. Like the next page, would I have worked on the next page? I could have actually gone all the way just with watercolors because they're just bigger items printed on it, but I'm not gonna watercolor the next one. I'm having a different thing in mind for it. So sorry for teasing. But I'm having a really good day today. I'm actually filming this on a Sunday morning. We had the kids at the house this weekend. They just left for their mom's house. They're traveling back, so I've got a couple of hours of quiet time in the house, so I love to use that time for recording those videos here. We had a fantastic weekend. They were visiting Grandpa, so I had a lot of time for post-production and cooking and such yesterday to well, to enable me to do artwork and a different kind of a video, which I'm going to tell you about in a second today. So I'm currently filming ahead, meaning I do put a few videos as a buffer in there, get them ready, get them pretty much planned and scheduled and such, because end of the month I'm planning to have surgery. I gotta have the screws and such taken out from my broken leg last year. So in case I need a longer recovery time, I don't have any weeks on the channel where nothing happens, because I pre-filmed things. That was the thought behind it. That's why I wanted to get as many art videos under my belt as I can, and so far I'm not doing too bad. So I'm quite happy with where I am. So I'm getting stuff done. I'm progressing. I'm very happy when it comes to my level of creativity and just energy to actually execute my ideas that I'm having and film the videos that I want to film. Ooh, did it ghost? No. So that's something I like a lot, and I'm just feeding off of that as much as I can, actually. And another thing that makes me very happy is something that I decided this morning, because I got the A-OK. You have noticed I brought back the art videos on my channel already, and the Keep Dancing show is back, and I do have a new podcast and such, so all of that is back. But I haven't brought back a show or introduced a new show when it comes to board games, and this finally changed. So I'm actually going to film tonight. If all goes well, I'm gonna film 2 episodes. And I'm so looking forward to it, because for one, well, I really just like playing board games, you know. But on the other hand, I really like to talk about board games. So I was toying with the idea of a board game show, a video series show, for a while now, but I haven't been sure yet how I want to execute it, what kind of format I want to do, how that is possible for me to film, like with the setup and such. So more like on the technical side of things, how I would be able to do that. And this morning I did actually talk to Jörn about an idea that I had, if he would be willing and having fun doing that with me. And he said, sure, no problem, I would love that. So tonight we're gonna start filming that and see if the setup that I have in mind actually works, if quality of the video is good enough for that. So it's just some technical things like a glare on the table, for example. How I'm going to do that, and what the focus should be, and all of that. I don't want to tease too much yet at this point. When this is published, probably the board game show will be will be available already and maybe have a published episode on my channel. I'm going for once a month at this point, so we'll see if that is a good timing thing, or if we maybe can go for every other week. So I haven't decided yet what day I'm gonna publish. I'm thinking about Sunday because I had my old board game show come out on a Sunday, so maybe I just keep that, or I'm just gonna take Gamer's Couch time slot and use it for my new show, which has no name yet, so that's something that I gotta figure out as well. So you see, I'm really kind of bustling with energy, because when I'm at that point with any kind of new video format, I want to get going. So I just want to get started, just want to do it, you know. It happens with pretty much any format that I ever had on my channel or still have on my channel. Whenever I started that, same thing. I just wanted to get going, just wanted to put the cameras up, audio equipment, ta-da, get going, set up and roll. So and you know, when that's still the same feeling still happens when I'm actually working on episode, I don't know, 15,000,100. So if I really want to do something, I'm really looking forward to actually working on it. So say Beyond the Lines there, when I came up with that show and wanted to work on that, it was the same thing. I was just really pumped. I had so many ideas on what I wanted to do and how to build up the show and such. And I just wanted to start filming. And I did. Pretty much 24 hours later, I had 2 or 3 videos in the can. Because I always, if I have a show where I'm thinking about a certain schedule, I always have 2 or 3 videos in the can before I start publishing, except for the vlog. Vlog is a different kind of thing. I don't pre-film there, I just film, you know, because it's a weekly thing. So, almost done. Half of my palette is already Toledo brown. Because I gotta put the dry pigment from the crayons on a dry surface. I can't put it on top of, say, this part here. I would have to let that dry first, otherwise I'm gonna ruin my crayons, and actually I will be unable to put pigment down. But I'm a little impatient and I don't want to wait for that. So I'm just going all over my palette here next to me, putting down pigment and keep going, keep working. So since I had said earlier that I have a certain kind of process that I do like to work with when it comes to coloring pages, especially. I wonder if you have a favorite supply that you like to use, or if you have like a favorite kind of process to go with. Say, have underpaintings done and then details on top, or only using colored pencils, or just using one medium on one piece of art. Well, is there something that you prefer where you say this is your go-to method of working, or your go-to supply to, say, do coloring pages, or I don't know, drawings, paintings, whatever it is that you're working on? I wonder if everybody has their favorite way of doing artwork and comes back to a certain process like all the time, or is it just me, which I can't believe, but I'm still curious. I want to know, so in case you want to share with me, the comment section is yours. I'm almost through the third batch of Toledo Brown. Can't believe it. I will very soon probably have to add some more pigment to my palette. And this time around, I'm trying not to have my big old head in frame all the time. I was actually kind of annoyed at myself at the last page that I completed. All of the videos had my big old head over the part that I was coloring, so you couldn't see anything, like pretty much all the time, and I didn't like it. But I think you could see the difference between before and after I did something to a specific spot in the page. You could see the difference well enough, so that was one reason why I kept the video and published it. And also, well, I promised you I would go for the whole book here, and if there's one page missing that I didn't film, it doesn't feel cool to me, so I thought, okay, I'm just gonna roll with it. I'm gonna be annoyed at myself for a little while and gonna do better next time. So let's see if I'm actually able. I'm kind of curious. But you know, sometimes I just forget. I really forget that there's a camera above my head when I'm working. Or even when I'm talking, I forget that I'm not talking to myself, but there's audio equipment right in front of me, recording. So I just am so in the zone that I don't sit correctly. So I do have my big old head in the frame. And sometimes I forget to turn on my audio equipment, which happened, I think it was the last video. So I do always have a backup, so the camera above me actually records audio as well. But it doesn't sound as good. So it sounds kind of hollow, I think. And I edited to my best ability already, and still I didn't really like the way it sounded. But well, I just have to be aware that I'm having cameras and audio equipment ready and working, and that I keep my big old head out of frame. It was a little easier on my previous art desk because it wasn't as narrow as this one here. So I could work a little easier with like leaning forward a bit without having my face cover up everything on the page that I was working on. But that table is now my kitchen table. So I do have this narrower kitchen table, which actually was to become the kitchen table in the apartment that I had rented before I broke my leg, and then eventually had to move into a different kind of apartment. So I made this my art desk, but it's way narrower, so I have to get used to not leaning forward so much, and you know, that way having my big old head in the way all the time. So this is done. This is all I'm gonna do for the Neo colors. You will see me back in a hot second. I'm gonna clean up my palette here, write down the supplies I used, and bring out my colored pencils, but I'm not gonna do that on camera. And meanwhile, my page can dry, so I can move forward with Prismacolors today. Okay, so this is dry. I'm all set up with colored pencils around me. Got my eraser and my sharpener. I'm good to go, and I want to start top to bottom with all the bottles and such. So I will use quite a couple of browns, I think, at least on these boxes here, and I think I want the 943, that's Ochre Brulee, and for the shading color 1082. Now I gotta get those pencils out of the tray. All right, let me see, where do I want the light to come from? I think I want to have it come from the left, so I'm shading towards the right. There's no indication here where there's a light source other than this candle, so I'm just saying it comes from the right. That's what I do. So, yep, I'm in frame with my book, and I'm just gonna color in my bits here for these two boxes. Prismacolors are very creamy, so you can blend colors together quite easily. They're not oil-based pencils, but they feel like oil-based pencils. Which I kind of like. You could achieve the same thing with polychromos, and then use paint thinner on top to get this super creaminess. I did do that, I think, in the first page of the book. So the first coloring episode of Beyond the Lines is where I use the polychromos with paint thinner. So if you're curious, go back to the old videos and take a look. The downside of them being so creamy is you gotta sharpen them pretty much like every 5 seconds. So if you're not fond of that, I would recommend using different kinds of pencils. Any wax-based pencil that is a little harder with the lead. But I do actually sometimes really like those creamy pencils. And if I don't like them, I just take my very cheap Faber-Castell Color Classic pencils. I think that's what they're called. Yep, I need to clean out my sharpener because there is lead pieces in the sharpener, which is not helping when you want to sharpen pencils, let me tell you. Not helping at all. Okay, second one. Colored pencils, as you know, is a very slow medium when it comes to coloring, but sometimes I find that quite relaxing and I'm looking for a slow medium, so that is when I use colored pencils, also in other artwork, not just coloring books. With this book here, I actually look at the line work and see what medium would fit best with it. So I'm only then deciding, okay, say a page would be suitable for both colored pencils and, I don't know, any other medium. Only then I decide, okay, what do I want to go for today? What do I feel like? But most times, like pretty much always, I look at what does the page work well with first, and I'm taking another dark brown that's brune. Oh, I'm going for the French one. Dark brown. It's called dark brown. So the other one was burnt ochre and chocolate. And who doesn't want a chocolate box? One thing that is a little difficult with the creaminess of the Prismacolors is how much pigment can the paper take. So this is the point where it actually pretty much can't take any more. So I'm just going in and trying to add a few lines here and there for the wood grain. And it doesn't really work because I have too much pigment on my paper already. Just works somewhat. But first 2 items colored. Now I can go on, this is a stone and a bottle, so I want to establish a color for those labels. I'm thinking these two, 940 and 942, would maybe work well. So which one do I want? There's a lot of things that work well. Or I can go for 914 in combo with 942. That's what I'm gonna do. So the 914 here is cream and 942 is, drum roll, yellow ochre. That's a nice combo, I think. So label first and shading it to the right. And then I think let's go for the stone first, because I don't know yet what color I want that bottle to be. But let's go for the stone, and I want the 1060 that just speaks to me, which is 20% cool gray, and a darker one, the 65, which is 70% cool gray. So I have to sharpen the light gray pencil. Yep, that's okay. And a little dark gray to the right. There we go. I'm thinking. I think I want a bluish bottle. Words. I like this one actually, the 1088. That's a little more to the left of the tray. So let's find it. There it is. And for shading, of course, well, who knows what's coming up? Everybody's saying deep indigo at the screen, 'cause correct. So I'm taking muted turquoise and indigo blue for the bottle. A little darker here on the right hand side. There we go. So that would be trinkets number 1. Now on to the next shelf. I'm disregarding the back of the cupboard for now. I'm not gonna work on that. So for these, I think I want something like terracotta. So 1032 and the 943 is too similar. Let's see. Do I have something maybe on the yellow tray? I'm thinking about the 1033. That could fit nicely. Yeah, why not? Let's go for them. So this is mineral orange and the other one is pumpkin orange. So yeah, I like that. And of course my 2 yellows again for the labels that I think are up here. So I'm gonna start with those. Okay, and mineral orange For the base layer, shading with the pumpkin orange. And as per usual, I go in circles or ellipses. Oh, there's something underneath here. A bit of colored pencil. I'm going in circles or ovals when I color for a smooth result. Going back with my mineral orange to even things out. Ta-da! And I need a little more of the pumpkin here. For the second box, it's going to be the same thing. Who knows what's in there? Maybe the Slaters, I don't know. Little pumpkin on top. And then blending it in with the mineral orange. For these lower parts, what do I want? Do I want a gray maybe? Yeah, why not? I'm gonna take the same dark gray that I used here and then a espresso color. It's a little warmer in tint, so I think that would be pretty cool. I kind of like that. Same goes for the other part. I think the herb stalk next to it could be rosemary. It kind of looks like it. So I'm just gonna make it rosemary and color it accordingly in a split second or a minute, depending. It's more like a minute, I guess. Not too shabby, Miss King. Now for the rosemary. What do I want? I think I just want one color, because, you know, there's not a lot to it, and I'm thinking the 1097 would fit pretty well, which is moss green. It's close enough to the color rosemary is. So there's a little leaf down here and here, so the hardly can get into things. Just going to try to color that bit. There we go. Hardly visible, but well. Up here there's a powder and a shovel and a bottle. I'm not gonna color the empty parts of the bottles yet, because when you look through a bottle, it's not blue. It takes the color of whatever is behind it, and since I haven't yet decided what color I want to use on the shelf in the background, I'm not gonna, well, color the see-through part of the bottles yet. But I think I want a light colored powder, maybe a light green, just to have a little bit of contrast and not have everything look blue, gray, green and brown. So I think, yes, it's a green, haha, but it's a very light one. And for shading, I'm gonna go with I think I want to go with the 1005. It's or do I want... No, I see something else. This one here, the sage color maybe? No, it's too much, I think. I'm gonna go with a yellowish green, and that is lime peel. So, and the light color is called pale sage. Well, it's a sage color, that's true. But I think I'm not gonna go with the dark sage colors on this bit here. For whatever reason, it's just too dark, too bluish for me. And I wanna keep that light green going. So, vlogging camera of. Maybe these are the powdered horse dung things, but then again, why would they just lay there? They're probably in one of these boxes down here. There we go. For that shovel, I would actually go with, like, naturally I would go with the brown because I think this is wood, but I'm trying to go light, so maybe a beige color from up here. I'm actually liking this one, the 84, that is ginger root. Ooh, I like that color, and maybe I could use it on something else too. And for shading, I think I'm just gonna go color repetition, guys. I'm gonna go with the yellow ochre that I also used on the labels. You know, I'm big about color repetition, so just using specifically and mainly shading colors again and again on different kinds of pieces in your artwork. It just helps the brain not being totally overwhelmed and thinking an art piece is super busy. I mean, with all these bottles and books and herbs and whatever is on the shelf, it is kind of busy and it should look a little busy, but not too much. And you can rein the busyness in by using shading colors again and again on different kinds of pieces, and having color repetition also on focal points once in a while. But I think it's way more important when it comes to shading colors. Now, for the bottle, what do I want? I think I want a really nice honey color. So I'm going to the yellows again. I'm thinking the 917 is a beautiful color, and this is called Sunburst Yellow. So yeah, of course I gotta go with that. For shading, let's see. I'm thinking the 1034 could work well because it has a little more of a brownish tint. That's goldenrod. And it could be something like meat or something, because why not have that as medicine in your surgeon's dungeon. And you see, I'm not going all the way to the sides because I keep that open for my bottle color. Say I will use a brown, it would actually fit really well to bring that down on the right and left side of that bottle. And another thing that I always recommend in my videos, that I tell you again and again and again, is turn your paper. I think I want a tiny little bit of the 1032 in there too. That's the pumpkin orange from this bottle here, just to make this nice and rich looking. Something like that. Bringing in my yellow to blend this out. And the goldenrod once more. There we go. First shelf done. Check the time. Yeah, I'm good. I can go for another shelf. So let's start with the skull. For that I want the 1038 because it's a warmer tint. 1038, there we go. And for the darker color, the 1072 maybe. Yep, there it is. Going about it just like before. The lighter color all over the place, like base coating pretty much. And then going in from the right hand side with my darker color, shading. It's also going to be a little more shading within the skull. And a little shading towards the back because the skull sits in the shelf, so these beams here cast a shadow as well. There's no direct light even there if there were like a big fireplace or something. I'm even gonna choose a darker color for the eye sockets and such. I'm thinking. What am I thinking? Just think I'm gonna take the 1076, which is a warm gray, to the 90% French gray. It's a warm gray pretty much. Just putting that into the eye sockets here. Something like that. Need a little light gray here. Ta-da! I think this one is easy to color. I'm just going to take my yellow ochre. Because I think a little broom would be of a light ochre color. And for shading, ooh, it's a little loud. I don't want an orange tone per se. Maybe more like a gray or a beige. Did I put one out yet? Yep, I did. So where is my beige tone? Oh, there it is, the ginger root. Oh, but that's oh, that was loud, I'm sorry. That's super light. So maybe, do I want to introduce a new color? There's one that I'm looking at. 1098. Where are you? Yeah, the artichoke one. It's this one here. It's a little more greenish. I think that could be something I use down here as well. Maybe like on whatever that is. But I think it would fit nicely with that yellow. You see, when I'm choosing the colors, I'm also thinking right away about, I'm thinking about, okay, where can I use that color again? Or is it just a one-time use, which would be in case of a focal point, for example, like something to stand out. But with these greens and browns, I want to use them again and again and again to calm the page down, and then something like the blue or I don't know, the light green here, these would be colors that I would love to have stand out. Let's go for these tiny bottles here, and I'm going to use my orange mixture that I used up here for the bottle on the right. And again, I'm just coloring the liquid. And maybe the top here. I'm forgetting what the word is. Bottle cap. Ha! Got it. Then oh, that's a little too similar here, so I need a little more of that pumpkin orange to work with it, and I'm adding a smidge of dark brown. Because you gotta keep contrast between things as well. And I'm taking the same brown for my bottle cap. And on the other one I want the yellow again. I really liked that combination. So that liquid up here is also going to be in this bottle, at least when it comes to the color. I don't know if it's the same thing inside, but they are similarly colored. So one could be sherry and one could be the mead. Just saying, you know. And for the bottle cap, I'm just taking espresso. All right, what is that thing next to her? I think it's, I don't know. I don't think it's herbs. So I'm gonna start with my bottle cap. Just give it a sweet orange tone with a little bit of that espresso, but just tiny little bit, because these are such small items. Can hardly shade them. So I'm just going to go for cool gray for whatever is inside of that bottle. And my dark gray espresso is too dark, so 70% cold gray, that should work. There we go. On to the next. Oh, there's powder again, so yeah, why not? Let's color it the same way as the powder on the shovel. So got the light pale sage color, and then I had, whoop, don't let things drop, Miss King. And I had that lime colored pencil for shading. And I think this is like a paper bag or something, or burlap bag. So I'm definitely gonna take that one greenish tone, the artichoke color, and with it maybe a light warm gray, putty beige. Yeah, that's a good color for a paper bag or a burlap kind of bag, something like that. But by giving this a little bit of a green tint, I think this adds a little bit to interest on the page. And I'm also going over these crinkles in here, which I think is, like I said, paper. I think is most likely. Blending things out, and then I'm going in with a little bit of a darker tone. The moss. Yeah, why not? I used it before and it's hardly visible on the page, so why not go and use it for a shading color here. So sometimes I used just 2 colors, sometimes 3. It depends on how big the object is that I'm coloring. The bigger it is, I think the more colors I use. And I think that's kind of logic, is it not? So just a final bit of putty beige. There we go. I think I want a little more of, ooh, that was my tummy, a little more of the blue that I used somewhere on this shelf, not necessarily these 2 bottles here, but maybe this jar or the crystal. No, the crystal, maybe like a cold red or purple would fit too. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have the jar be blue and the crystal be purple or pinkish, which means there would be something greenish here because these are leaves, maybe a yellow here, so probably a little of a darker color, maybe something like this, which is black raspberry. Oh yeah, I like that color a lot. And I'm gonna shade that with indigo, because you should never change a running system, should you? So let's start with the raspberry here. I like that color a lot. And shade it with indigo. And I definitely have to sharpen my pencil. And it's gonna get an indigo colored cork, cause why not? I just see that that's the wrong pencil. This one. There's a little bit of that bag behind the bottle, so I'm gonna give it a layer of what is behind, which is the putty gray in this case. And then I want, what kind of a liquid do I want on top? Maybe a cooler yellow shade. Let's see. Nothing really comes up where I say, oh yeah, that's it. So I'm taking my cream color. I'm choosing a different shading color, in this case sand. So my cream color and the sand color for these two bottles here, and I'm gonna color them the same way, because why not? Not every bottle has to be filled with a different kind of liquid. There might be a little repetition here and there on things. Again, I'm keeping the gap for when I color in my shelf. And for the cork, I'm gonna go with a brown. It is chocolate. Then I can go for my favorite color combo. For one, I need the label, because I think this would be the label. I'm choosing the same colors as before. Ooh. And then I'm going in with the same color combo that I had on the bottle up top. So the turquoise with the indigo. Ooh. Almost threw away my pencil, which I don't want to do because I need it. So there we go. For that lid thing here in the middle, I'm gonna just take a light gray with just the tiniest touch of the darker gray to shade, really just tiny touch, because I want this to separate from the top, which I want to color with my blues again. But I need a little bit of turquoise sharpening happening. Yes, that's a technical, technical term. I'm very sure about that. Now, I think I want to start coloring the bottles on the left-hand side first before I go in with the crystal and decide on my final color, because all of these shades here will be warm tones and I want this one to be a cold tone. So I'm starting with artichoke and moss green for these bits in this bottle here. That was my sharpener. There we go, and for the bottle cap, just taking one of my browns here. This is chocolate. And the other bottle gets an orange cork, because why not? So I want to take that pumpkin orange, the, what's it called? Goldenrod, and my yellow to color the liquid in this bottle. Just going with a light touch. I know it looks like I'm really bearing down, but I'm not. I just grip my pencil rather tight because I have to control my hands. But with the pressure on the paper, I'm actually having a pretty light touch. Gonna add a little bit of the sunny yellow here. Yeah, it looks different than all the others, so I'm just the ratio that I'm using on things. I'm changing. Oh, that was loud. I'm sorry. Oh gosh, I hope in post-production I can cut out that heavy pink on my glass jar. Let's see. Now I want to go for a cold tone, and I had said maybe a purple or a pink. What speaks to me? Nothing, actually. I definitely know what I want to shade with. Maybe either this dark color or the crimson one, that's this one here. I think I'm gonna go for this one for shading. Oh gosh, come on pencil, come to me. This is called Tuscan Red, and then I want either this one or this one. This one would be too similar to this one, so maybe I should go really light then. So maybe even this one. Yeah, why not? Let's be brave. The 994, yes. That is called Process Red. Wow. So I'm going to sharpen that a bit. I will add a blue, but I don't want to add the indigo because that again is a warm blue. So I'm going for the cooler shades here, and I'm thinking the 902, which is ultramarine, which is a lovely cold blue. Let's take that one. So the reds is fine with me, that's my comfort zone. But the pink and the blue, not so much. But it's fine. I'm definitely gonna use these colors nonetheless. Because when it comes to the process, like where to put color and such, it's the same thing with cold colors, warm colors, doesn't matter. But it's just color combos that I find way more pleasing to the eye, or that I'm just using way more often, where I think, okay, this is my color combo. So I'm not gonna blend a lot here since these are crystals. I'm just gonna keep my white space, and I'm just going to work on where what color should go. So just a little bit of red here. A little heavier hand. Okay, and the same here on that line. Now I can already go in with blue, add just the smallest touch of it, really very, very little. Especially here on the bottom. And I'm gonna bring in back a little bit of that pink to blend a few things. Could actually also take my white pencil to keep a few things white. For example, this one here. Where I want to make sure that there is no other pigment going in, like no pink, no purple, no nothing. Okay. That's definitely an interesting colored crystal. But yeah, that's the break through all the warm colors next to it. Now I see, let me check the clock. Yeah, I think I can I? 140, 110. Yeah, I think I can do that shelf, and then I'm gonna cut the video and come back next week. This is lavender. I can see that just by how this is drawn. This is supposed to be lavender, and I like that. Oh, come on. So I'm gonna take the 932 and the 1026. One of them being very light, the other being very dark, because there's well, no, I don't need the light color. There's hardly any space here to color. So I'm just going in with one color here for the lavender. And that continues the cold purple, because this is more on the colder part of the spectrum. And then I'm bringing in these sage colors, because this is pretty much, at least one of them, this one. This is what the leaves of lavender look like. How do I know it? Because I do have lavender growing in my garden. Because I really like it a lot. It brings on bumblebees, and I do like bumblebees in my garden. So there's the leaves, and I'm taking that turquoise blue that I used before for shading. That might not be the intuitive thing to do for you, but those colors are actually very similar, and you can see they blend in together very well. So a little more of that light gray. What's it called, by the way? Is it sage? No, it's jade green. That's what it's called. But it is very sage colored. Now this, I think, is metal, as is this. And then we've got some vials. Metal. I do have grays, cold grays here already. So let's find them. There's one. There's another, I think. Yep. And you are too dark. I'm gonna take the espresso pencil with me nonetheless. This is what I'm gonna use for both the metal parts. So for one, that cup here, but I gotta turn my page because I have this the binder, like the back of the book, in my way, so I'm just gonna color upside down. Turn it a tiny bit. Bringing back in the light gray pencil, blending things together. And then I'm taking the darkest pencil, lightest touch of them all. This is a brownish tone. Because, yeah, it's called espresso, so go figure. But I want a little bit of detail here. I think I can achieve that best with, well, a different shade of color. In this case, espresso. Just gonna use my dark gray here to blend out the espresso. You can see it's just, it doesn't look as brown anymore once I've gone over it with my dark gray. but it blends together nicely. It gives a wonderful hue of shadow, and well, this also being maybe a little older, so there's maybe a little bit of rust or something on there. There we go. Onto my other metal piece. This is for putting out candles. I'm going about it the same way as with the cup. The only difference is that I'm putting in espresso first, and then I blend everything out with my light gray pencil. And go in with a little bit of my dark gray. Ooh, wrong pencil. Now I'm going to sharpen my pencil really well, because for this handle here, there's not a lot of space to color things in. I'm just going with one layer here. Not gonna make a fuss about that. There we go. I think I'm going to use light yellow shades here, because this could be pea or something that somebody collected. Just saying. And I'm going to shade all of them with my yellow ochre. So I need to sharpen a couple of pencils. Ooh, without throwing everything around. Gosh. Coordination. Great. Oh well, since I have it open, I can empty my sharpener. That's something that I like way more about the Faber-Castell sharpener. It doesn't open as easily as the Prismacolor one does. But the Prismacolor sharpener is perfectly sized for the pencils, so that's why I like this sharpener a lot for the pencils, because they just fit together very, very well. I'm also not going to make a fuss about those bottle caps. They all will be just one layer of color. And they all are going to be the same color, and I'm using that light green from up here too. So we've got a light green and a ginger root and another ginger root and what are you? Cream. And sand. And another sand. And another ginger root. They're all gonna be shaded with that yellow pencil. And that prevents this part from looking too busy. So we had the green one here. Ginger root here. and here, and also here. Notice I didn't shade this vial behind the other vial, just here on the bottom, but not up here. And that's because the shaded side is behind the other vial. The cream was here in the middle. Sand was here. And I'm just adding a tiny little bit of that yellow ochre to some parts where it didn't really come out as much as I wanted it to. Okay, bottle caps, and then I'm done for today. And for the bottle caps I will take, what are you? Dark brown. I just pulled one pencil. I did not really take a look. I just went for something brownish. All right, and that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed watching along. If you have questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. This is how far I got. The blog post will be up by now, so in case you want to remember all of these pencils that I used, you don't have to write along or memorize them. You just can read up on the blog post. The link to my website is in the description box below, and the most recent blog post after this is published is always the one going for the video. In case you watch this way after the video has been published, just search for the video name, so not the Beyond the Lines part, but everything after that. I think I called it Surgeon's Room or something like that, or maybe just surgery. I don't remember, or I haven't decided yet at this point because I'm still in the filming process. But something like the video title name is also the name of the blog post, so you can find it easily. And I would love for you to subscribe in case you want to see more videos, and hit that notification button so that you are alerted whenever I release a new video. I would also love for you to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. That lets me know that I'm on the right track. And I'm going to see you next week with the next part of this page. Thanks for watching. Bye.